Good morning, everyone. Now, this is a different scene, isn't it? I am showered and ready to go. I'm just about to make my coffee here, and I thought I would share with you what is going on this morning and why I am up and at them already. Look, blow-dried hair and everything. I think all mishmash so far, right? I've just been in my jammies. Yeah, I think I've just like woken up, come down, and just started vlogging. Anyway, you guys, I have jury duty today. My husband was like, wow, talk about horrible timing. I was like, you know what? It's never a good time. So we're just gonna go with it. We're just gonna go with it. I think I got summoned once many years ago, before the pandemic, many years ago, and I called in and they were like, you're done, you're excused, right? You don't have to come in. That happens, I wanna say like pretty often because it's happened to my husband at least twice now. So then I got a jury summons in October. Oh, and I was gonna be either in LA or Dallas, one of those trips. And I was like, well, I can't like physically go. So I postponed. And so they're like, great, you have to show up December, whatever. And I was like, oh God, like that's during Mishmas. I was like, oh, I'll probably get excused, you know, whatever. Nope, they're like, report to blah, blah, blah at 10 a.m. I was like, oh no. So here I am. I woke up at 4 this morning so that I could get ready and do today's Mishmas vlog, not have jury duty disrupt that. And then I figured I could edit it while I'm waiting there. I don't even know. I'm just hoping they take one look at me and excuse me for whatever reason. We'll see what happens. Got my Christmas bear. So walk you over to my seat over here. So since I plan on working, I'm packing up a bag like I'm going away for the weekend. I'm working, I wanna make sure I have some healthy snacks if I get hungry. I don't wanna be bored, so I'm definitely bringing my iPad in case I wanna like, I don't watch something, read something or whatever. I will also have my laptop, but I won't have internet access on my laptop. Anyway, so I have my laptop, my iPad, my iPhone, my headphones, bringing my hard drive so that I can edit, and yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, but we'll see what happens. So let's see. What I wanted to talk about today, and this is gonna be a much different vlog, until I got called in, is I want to talk about my favorite winter fragrances. And the timing was actually perfect because I had this kind of queued up on my list of videos that I wanted to do. And then come to find out, Sephora is having a 20% off sale of all their fragrances, which makes sense. It's always such a popular holiday gift. And so why not do it, you know, a week and a half before Christmas. So I wanted to talk about that today. All the fragrances I'm going to mention are not all available at Sephora. Of course, I'll link to them down below, and you know, there's that shopping, you know, the shopping buttons or whatever down there from YouTube. So a lot of my fragrances, of course, are not available at Sephora. You know, they're all over. But I did write a blog post that's going to go up later today. That's going to go up later today. And those are my top 5 winter fragrances at Sephora. Oh my gosh, Butters is awake. She's coming down. So those will be my top 5 fragrances at Sephora if you really want to take advantage of the 20%. And don't forget to sign up for my newsletter, which always lets you know of a new blog post. Sometimes I just send out a newsletter without a blog post. I'll like let you know of any deals and stuff that are going on, sales, any new discount codes that I may have gotten, and just, you know, kind of generally like what's going on in my life or whatever. It's a little bit different than what I talk about here on the channel. It's even a little bit different from the actual blog. So anyway, so I'll have a link to subscribe to my newsletter down below, but I'm gonna press my French press down here. Ooh, start enjoying some of this coffee. This has just been a sad past day, learning that I had to go to jury duty, and I also had to drop my friend Laura off at the airport yesterday morning. She's left me. It was so nice having her here, and I just want to thank you guys for all of the lovely comments that you left about her. I showed all of them to her. She was just ecstatic. She was like, maybe we should do that more often. And I'm like, sure, you can come out anytime. So, good morning, Butters. Now, Butters has been looking for Auntie Lara. Good morning, little baby. Then she goes back there looking for her food. There's no food yet, baby. It's 5:05 in the morning. Oh, who's a good girl? You want to say hi to mommy? Just walk right on by mommy. That's okay. Don't start humping the blanket. Good girl. Go on. Make your little nest. Make your little blankie nest. Oh my goodness. This is the longest blankie nest making session ever. Okay. Are you showing off for everyone now? Is that what's going on? Your bolly's in there. Let's move your bolly. Oh, you want your bolly. Okay. Oh, finally. Wow, my hair is really swoopy today. Still enjoying that T3 edge to give me this little swoop here. All right, I'm gonna chug this coffee. We'll do the advent calendars, and then let's get to talking about winter fragrances. Day 15. Oh, up here. I almost missed it. We've got, the Wild Bluebell cologne. I was just introduced to this in this advent calendar. What was it, like a hair mist or body mist or something? This actually smells, I don't know, to me it smells like melons. It's really like a fruity, sweet, but light kind of fragrance. Really nice for springtime. Okay. Oh, let's see. 15. We're on day 15. Where are you? Oh, right here. Ooh, this is a big bottle. The Décolleté AQ Absolute Treatment Emulsion. Pretty that is. Do you see that patterning on the bottle? So pretty. Okay. Day 15. 15. Wow. Eyes. Work for me here. Work for me. Oh, here. Up here. Got a biggie. We have the Gentle Bath and Shower Gel. Ooh, I love their bath products, and I've never tried this. So excited. Okay, day 15. Ooh, what's this? Oh, another mascara. Lash Clash. You know, I don't think I'm very familiar with YSL mascaras either. It'll be really fun to try some new ones. And Diptyque, number 15. Right up here, we've got, the Roses Votive. Such a classic. All right, guys, I brought you up to my finishing room, which is a little echoey, I apologize, but this is where I keep all of my perfumes. So I've just pulled out ones that I just really, really love. Like I said, for the winter time, I like changing up my perfume, not only depending on my mood, which is probably the biggest factor in deciding which fragrance I want to wear that day, but also the seasons. You know, winter for me, you know, I want something a little bit warmer, a little bit deeper, a little bit richer. Spring, summer, I want something a little bit lighter, fruitier, juicier, more floral. And that's not to say that I don't mix things up, of course, during the year, but I do like, at least in my mind, categorizing fragrances in that way. And in fact, I keep all of my fragrances in this room's bathroom. On the vanity. And so I have all of my deeper fragrances on the left, all of my lighter fragrances on the right. It just helps me kind of organize things. So I just recently got 2 new fragrances, which you guys may remember. I'm trying to remember if I mentioned them in the same video. No, I don't think so. One was when I went to Diptyque and I got a candle and a fragrance. And then another one was during my Black Friday haul where I ordered one from Bergdorf. So I did want to mention those. And I know this is like my favorite winter fragrances and these are new, but man, have these become fast favorites. I have not been able to put down either. I think I've just been going between the 2 ever since I got them. Okay, I don't know why it looks so, sorry, the lighting in this room is very warm apparently. So the Diptyque fragrance that I got is this one, which I cannot pronounce this word. I even looked it up and I'll just play it for you.
L'autre.
That last part, I can't do that. L'autre. I'll just do l'autre. So it means the other, and it's a really warm, spicy fragrance. It's actually what I'm wearing right now. And it starts really sharp. It starts really like, almost like, I smell like a cocktail in the beginning. I smell like some sort of like really spicy kind of spiked cider. And then it really tones down where you really get to the essence of like the spices, where you're not just hit with the sharpness of it. Let me just pull up the notes for this, and I'm using fragrantica.com. So the top notes are cardamom, pepper, and carnation. Middle notes, caraway, nutmeg, coriander. Base notes, patchouli. And so between the cardamom, the pepper, the caraway, the nutmeg, you really get like a really warm, spicy, I don't want to say gourmand because it's not like a vanilla and like a richness of like cocoa or caramel or anything like that, but gourmand in a different way. Oh, it's really nice. And it's funny, the salesperson Gus over at Diptyque, we just hit it off. We talk about all the fragrances, all the candles. She's so knowledgeable. She's the one that showed me around the boutique when they first opened, and I did that vlog. And I said, I think I really like this one. She's like, that's so funny. That's my least favorite. And I was like, oh my goodness. I mean, I can kind of see that. I think this is maybe one that you're either gonna love or hate. But if you like a fall, cooler weathered, spicy, warm kind of fragrance, I think you're gonna really like this. I think this would actually lend itself to being an excellent, excellent candle. Oh, it's so great, but it doesn't have any of that sweetness. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like every time I say cider, people think of like apple and that kind of like really strong, sweet, kind of like Bath and Body Works apple scent. Not at all. Doesn't have any of that kind of sweetness. I think I would categorize this one as a unisex fragrance, much like most of the Diptyque fragrances. Some are a little bit, more typically feminine, some are a little bit more typically masculine. This one is so unique. I feel like this is very, very unisex. So that's the first one I wanted to mention. Again, very new to my collection, but I can't get enough of it. The other new fragrance that I got, this was during my Black Friday sale haul. I got this at Bergdorf, and this is the Armani Privé Bois d'Encens. And this is what the bottle looks like. And I bored you with the whole long story about how I got to know this fragrance when I was in Milan, and then when I went over to London, I kind of reacquainted myself with it at Harrods. I was talking to the salesperson there about it. Anyway, this is a very special fragrance for Armani. I believe he created this with his grandmother in mind. It's either his grandmother or his mother, so I apologize if I'm messing up the story, but basically it reminds him of the time that he spent when either his grandmother or mother took him to church. So there's a very strong resemblance to like incense that you would smell in a church. But I do want to, off of the Armani site, read to you how they describe it, because it's obviously much better than any job I could do. Warm incense smoke spirals in opposition to the cool, still minerality of an Italian church. Bois d'Encens Eau de Parfum is the most personal fragrance of Mr. Armani, created in remembrance of his childhood and inspired by the cool, damp stones of the Italian church he used to visit in Placenza. It evokes a lingering mysticism, the air saturated with smoky incense and a profound, solemn universe. A warm, resinous blend of vetiver, cedar, and incense, at once mysterious and elegant, contrasts with the singular resonance of simple, vital minerals of church stones expressed by cold pepper notes. Now, you know what's funny is when I close my eyes and I smell this, I smell the incense right away. I smell the smokiness, the kind of deep, warm scent of this. And my friend Laura, who was here, when she smelled it, she said when she closed her eyes, all she could picture was like a castle. And I said, I think that's the minerality that they're trying to kind of get across, like that old Italian church made out of stone, all of that. So it's funny how we picked up on the two different aspects of it. But this one, I would say, is definitely more masculine for sure. It has that vetiver in there, which to me always smells like aftershave a little bit. But I will say this fragrance is probably the most unique fragrance I have ever smelled that I have in my collection. And it was one that for a long time, because I spent a bit of time at the hotel where they were kind of like pumping this through the vents, I think. It took a long time for me to decide whether or not I liked it. It was like, I couldn't actually develop an opinion on it. I just kept observing it. What is that? what am I smelling? What are those notes? You know, it was like I kept trying to like analyze it and break it down, but I really wasn't developing too much of an opinion on it until I think I started to leave the hotel. And as we were walking through the lobby and, you know, I'm with my two friends, we're talking about like, wow, like this fragrance has really grown on me. I really, really love it. And I just said, I feel like it's evoking memories that I don't even have. It's just really, it's very evocative. This fragrance is very, very evocative. But if you do decide to maybe try this out, or you go into a store and you want to take a look at this, spray it and let it sit for a while, and definitely spray it on your skin, walk around with it, because it changes quite a bit. When you first spray it, all I smell is that dankness, which that's not my favorite aspect of this fragrance. I think the combination of it all is really, really great, but that's all I can smell in the beginning. And then it starts to warm up, it starts to even out. I feel like the notes start to really balance out. And then even as a little bit more time passes, like a tiny bit of sweetness even comes out, which I think is like the incense. It's just a really, really interesting fragrance. I feel like this is one, if you wear this to parties, cocktail parties, a dinner, people are really gonna be like, wow, like, what is that? They probably won't even think that it's a fragrance that you're wearing. They'll probably think that it's actually like something being pumped into the room or whatever. It's that interesting. So anyway, this has definitely become a fast favorite of mine, much like the diptyque. And then I wanted to share with you some of my favorites that are available at Sephora. Like I mentioned, I have a blog post where I'll mention 5 of my favorite fragrances at Sephora. So there'll be a couple more than what I'm mentioning here. Definitely head on over there and subscribe to the newsletter. So Tom Ford Ombre Leather, you guys have heard me talk about this quite a bit. This has shown up in my favorites. This has shown up in a lot of like fragrance roundup videos. This is like, to me, this is like leather light. There's, yes, a very strong note of leather, but this to me smells like new leather, like leather in a new car, where if you've ever smelled Tom Ford's, what's his other, Tuscan leather, that one to me is older leather that's been around a little bit, leather that maybe you'll find in a smoky library, something like that. This is a little bit fresher, I guess you could say. It's a little bit lighter. It's not light, but it's a little bit lighter versus Tuscan leather, if you are familiar with that one. So the top notes, or top note, I should say, is cardamom. Middle note is leather and jasmine sambic. Base notes, amber, moss, and patchouli. I think it's that cardamom that kind of keeps it a little bit lighter. I mean, it's spicy, but it's a little bit lighter than leather that's kind of paired with like vetiver or oud or anything like that. So it just kind of keeps it a little bit, I think, a little bit brighter, a little bit lighter. I really, really love this one. And I find this to be obviously I find this to be very unisex, but I do think this one is typically categorized as like a masculine or a men's fragrance. All right, next up, Coco Noir from Chanel. I've had this fragrance for a really long time. I don't know, I associate this with like special occasions. I know plenty of people wear this as like their daily fragrance, but I always kind of set this aside and put this on if I'm going out for like, I don't know, maybe a romantic dinner or like a little cocktail party or something. It's very like, I don't know, I feel like this is the black velvet dress version of a fragrance. There's a lot of notes in here. Let me read them all off to you. So top notes, grapefruit, bergamot, orange. I really love citrus, although I don't feel like I smell much of that, I have to say. I think it gets buried by the other notes. The mid notes, rose, geranium, jasmine, narcissus, and peach. And then the base notes, patchouli, sandalwood, olivinum, tonka bean, vanilla, white musk, cloves, and benzoin. It's such an interesting fragrance because I don't feel like I smell much of any of these. Like none of them really stand out to me. Maybe one of the florals, maybe like the geranium, and then maybe like the white musk and the sandalwood. But there's a little bit of powderiness to it, which I typically do not like. I don't like a baby powder kind of fragrance, but I don't mind it in here. I think because it's kind of mixed in with all of these other notes. But it's a really like elegant kind of fragrance. And it's very, very feminine, I think. This is a very kind of like female fragrance for sure. Yeah, but it's very, very beautiful. And it is quite different from, I want to say, all of the other winter fragrances I'm going to talk about. All of the other winter fragrances, I think, if I'm not mistaken, most of them are very unisex. And most of them have a spiciness to them. They're a little bit deeper. This one is like a little bit more like ethereal than all of the other ones. So anyway, this is one that's also available at Sephora. That's where I got it. That's the Coco Noir. Intoxicated by Kilian. This was my very first Kilian fragrance. And wow, did I fall in love with this. This is definitely more of a gourmand unisex type of fragrance. It's very deep, it's very rich. The notes to this are cardamom, coffee, nutmeg, cinnamon. This is, I feel like this is the perfume version of my Trader Joe's gingerbread coffee. It's so, so yummy. And I will say, I feel like I smell all the notes when I spray it, when I sniff it like this. Once I put it on my skin, I feel like it gets a little bit sharper. It gets a little bit more serious. It's less foody on my skin than these notes would have you believe, between the cardamom, coffee, nutmeg, and cinnamon. It becomes a little bit more mature, and I really like that. It is a very sexy, intoxicated is actually a great name for this. It's a very, very sexy fragrance, I think. I think it's a very like come hither kind of fragrance. So that is Intoxicated by Kilian. And I haven't been talking about the longevity of these fragrances. I apologize. All of them stay on my skin extremely well, except for the Diptyque, the other La Autre. That one, because it's lighter, that's an EDT. I would say, you know, it lasts the day, but I don't wake up smelling it. Maybe my clothes do, but I don't. So that's the lightest one out of all the ones that I've been talking about. The Armani is probably the strongest. That will stay with you. So that's definitely one that you have to like before you put it on. This one stays a long time. The Chanel stays a long time. Yeah, the Tom Ford stays a long time as well. So I would say the lightest one, if you don't like fragrances that just keep on keeping on, you definitely want to try like an EDT, and that Diptyque one is an EDT, an eau de toilette. Okay, so those are the 3 fragrances that are available at Sephora. Again, 20% off, and definitely check out my blog post if you want a couple other suggestions for Sephora. But I'm gonna move on to, this is yet another newish fragrance. This I did get, I don't know, maybe only a couple months ago, but this is L'Immensité from Louis Vuitton. And this, I got this because it kind of smells like Coca-Cola. And you guys know I love it. Kilian had that Boys fragrance that is no longer available in the US. I don't know if it's still only available in Russia, I believe. That was the last I heard when they basically discontinued it everywhere else. But they may have just been doing like a slow roll out of it. But anyway, I missed that Boys perfume. I still have it. I should just use it because perfume doesn't last forever, but it's like I'm saving it because I know I can't get it. But anyway, this smells like Coca-Cola and I absolutely love it. Let me get the actual proper notes of this. Okay, the top notes are grapefruit, ginger, bergamot. Middle notes, water notes, sage, rosemary, geranium. Base notes, ambroxan, amber, and labdanum. So there's a little bit of warmth, a little bit of sweetness. Again, if you imagine just like the smell of Coke, how there's like a little bit of spiciness, a little bit of sweetness, that's pretty much what this smells like. I mean, they'd probably be so offended me describing this to smell. It smells like Coca-Cola, but it really does. But I just love the smell of Coca-Cola. I just think it smells fantastic. Not great for you, but it smells fantastic. So this, I think, is also categorized as a men's cologne, but I think it's unisex. I think, you know, it could go for just about anyone. But it does have that like little bit of warmth, which is why I can kind of see why they describe it as like or they categorize it as like a men's fragrance. Oh, but this is lovely. And this definitely hangs around. If you do end up spraying it on yourself and you do get some on your clothing is just gonna smell that way. Like I sprayed it on a sweater probably a month ago. Every time I pull out that sweater, still smells like it. So until I get it clean, I'm sure. So anyway, this is definitely very long lasting. And we have the Oud for Greatness from Initio. This This was actually introduced to me by Stephanie Windsor, the jeweler extraordinaire. Gosh, this one is probably the sweetest. Yeah, this is probably the sweetest fragrance out of all of the ones that I'll be talking about today. So the top notes, saffron, nutmeg, and lavender. And I don't typically like the actual scent of lavender. Middle notes, agar wood, oud. Base notes, patchouli and musk. Now, I feel like that doesn't truly describe this. Let me see if I can find maybe like a description of it. So I'm on the Initio site, and it says, oud for greatness breathes out a force of nature, the wake of greatness. The natural essence of oud wood has been perfected to this pitch, handled with majesty and brutality in this bold formula, scarcely highlighted by patchouli and musk. Superbly textured, strikingly natural, oud has been handled by the creator in a register that is astonishingly fresh with the lavender and spicy with the nutmeg and saffron. An enchanting, thrilling perfume that makes all of our dreams of greatness possible. I don't know what it is about the combination of these scents. It smells like a bolder, stronger version of the Baccarat, the Kirkchin Baccarat. But it has that kind of like sweetness to it. I feel like I'm using the wrong word, but it has that, to me it's like a sweetness. And it's like a perfume I just wanna like take a bite out of. I think it is very special. It is, I think, also very, very striking. This is definitely one, if you're wearing, someone's gonna lean in and be like, what do you have on? It's stunning, literally like stunning. I think it'll stop people in their tracks. So that's the Initio Oud for Greatness. And then the last two I wanna talk about are two that I've talked about quite a bit. This is the Frederic Malle Portrait of a Lady. This is actually another fragrance that Stephanie Windsor turned me on to. She's like, you're gonna love it, you're gonna love it. And when I read the notes, I was like, no, I'm not. And same with the Oud for Greatness. I was like, no, I'm not. She's like, trust me, you're gonna love it. And boy, was she right. This Portrait of a Lady is the most floral by far. Absolutely the most floral out of any of the ones that I mentioned today. Okay, so the notes in here are rose, and I'm on the Frederic Malle website. Rose, blackcurrant, raspberry, patchouli, sandalwood. And I love blackcurrant, anything kind of like with that juicy fruitiness to it, paired with rose. That's one of my favorite combinations. At the 4, an exuberant dose of Turkish rose, 400 flowers per 100 milliliter bottle. Beneath, a bed of patchouli heart imbued with sandalwood and frankincense, and a cord of clove, blackcurrant, and raspberry binds the perfume together for a final characterful brushstroke. This fragrance is absolutely divine. It's so elegant, and I don't know, I picture a really mysterious woman smoking a cigarette in a really kind of like basement dark bar that's like covered in red velvet. That's the scene I imagine when I smell this. It is mysterious, it's feminine. This is definitely much more feminine fragrance than the others. This is, I wouldn't consider a unisex. It is absolutely captivating. It's so sexy. I love this Portrait of a Lady. And this last one, like I've mentioned, I've talked about quite a bit. This is the Harmonist Hypnotizing Fire. And this is, I would consider, a very gourmand kind of fragrance. It has some of those rich, kind of sweeter notes. Again, much like many of the ones that I've talked about. But the difference with this one is there is a really, really strong kind of like undercurrent of wood smoke. And it is incredible. This is, you guys have heard me say this 1,000 times regarding this fragrance, but this is what I would consider a third date fragrance, if you get what I mean. This is, it's not just sexy, it's like sex. It's like sex in a bottle. So the description on the Harmonist site says it's a seductive fragrance. I could not agree more. That nurtures the wearer like a gentle flame. The mellow sensuality of Madagascan vanilla and benzoin is enriched by the subtle notes of Bulgarian rose, Indonesian patchouli, and pimento berries, harvested under the Jamaican sun. Warm and glowing, it's an enchanting yin scent that revives and restores. So the Harmonist has yin and yang scents. So the notes, top notes, pepper tree, pimento berries, cloves. Middle notes, Bulgarian rose, patchouli, praline. Base notes, vanilla, benzoin, and opopanox. It's devastatingly sexy. There's no other way to put it. This is so, it's hypnotizing for sure. And this is the sexiest fragrance that I have talked about today. This is your third date fragrance. If you really want to seduce someone, this would be your first step, I would say. So that's the Harmonious Hypnotizing Fire. And those are a nice smattering. I have a lot of fragrances, so this was tough to kind of like narrow down, but I would say these are my current favorite winter fragrances. And definitely take advantage of that Sephora 20% off if you're looking to get something or looking to buy a present. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm gonna sign off now because I've got to get to jury duty. The sun is out. Has the sun been rising behind me? I haven't even noticed. Probably. It's been getting brighter and brighter. Anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning into this Mishmas vlog. I will see you in tomorrow's vlog. Bye.